out in the past in any class. So make sure that that phone is put away. I know that sometimes when it rings or something happens, light goes off, so make sure that's not showing because you don't want any distractions. All right, cell phones are put away. Your entrance ticket is out. You have a pen or a pencil or something where you can write on that or where you can borrow one from. Awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and let Mr. Popwell introduce our Med Talk event for you today. Let's give Ms. Epley right here a round of applause for helping out organizing this event. So a lot of people worked really hard to get these community partners to come and talk to you all about going to college and what life after high school is like and going to be for you, and especially in the medical field and what that looks like. So these topics are as important as they can get for you. So a lot of people worked really hard for you to have this experience. It will go over the regular flex time, so we'll be in here after flex for part of your first block. I know some of you arranged, raise your hand if you arranged, you've got to take a test with your first block teacher so you can't stay. There's a few of you, okay, a couple. So I know some of you, your first block teacher said you've got to come and take this test. We'll make an announcement when it gets closer to flex class time ending, and you'll have an opportunity to quietly exit so you can go take that test for that responsibility that you've already prior arranged with your teacher. And I know who most of you are, you've already spoken to me. Other than that, I'm going to go ahead and let Mr. Popwell introduce. Well, I'll say one more thing. Thank you all for coming here today. What I want you to notice is that this is the Bryan Station High School Medical Academy, and that they're doing great things. That they're different, they're doing special things here this year. We've already talked to you about our academy structure, what that looks like. But these students in particular have gotten industry certifications. They've taken classes specific to the medical field. They've met and talked to people like yourselves that have come through. And we want that to, our vision for this academy is that the community will know about the things that Bryan Station High School Medical Academy is doing. And when you see a resume or a reference letter or application and it's got Medical Academy on it from Station, that means something. So these students are really, they're committed and they work really hard to make that impression on you all. So I hope to see that today.
All right, good morning, guys. Before we do this really quick, I'm also going to do our Students of the Month. Don't have your certificate this morning or your candy because we're going to focus on this today. But if you find me this week, I will give you both of those things. We'll get your picture for the poster. But when I say your name, I want you to stand up so you can be recognized for being Students of the Month. For academics, Zaria Robinson. Don't see her name. All right, for good citizenship, Victoria Coulter. And lastly, for professionalism is Joko Bojang. So if you come to see me this week, I will give you your certificate and your candy. So just let me know what you like. All right? So Yara is going to be moderating this morning. She's going to be making sure that we stay relatively within the segments that we've outlined that's on your paper. Also remember, if you ask a question that she deems inappropriate, she can cut you off. Okay? Make it sure you're being asking professional questions. And also, if she has to call time for done with the segment, she will say it's time that we need to move on. All right? Any further ado? Here's Ms. James.
Good morning, everybody. Okay, so first, before we do anything, we're going to have each of you all introduce yourselves and tell a little bit about your program.
My name is Caitlin. I am currently a first-year master's student at Eastern Kentucky University. My major is athletic training, and this is only the second year of our program.
Hello everyone, my name is Tanner Eldridge. I'm a junior in the athletic training program at EKU. That is the undergrad program which is currently being phased out and replaced by our master's program.
Hi everyone, my name is Allison and I'm currently a senior in the Occupational Science program at Eastern Kentucky University. In the fall, I will be starting the Occupational Therapy program.
Abby, and I'm a first-year medical student at UK College of Medicine.
Hi, I'm Andrew Woodridge. I'm a first-year medical student as well at the University of Kentucky College of Medicine.
And my name is Patrick. I'm also a first-year medical student at the University of Kentucky.
Okay, so the first topic that we're going to talk about is what are the requirements to get into our choice college?
I'll start. So, for my program, the occupational science program, you actually don't really apply for that until your spring semester of your sophomore year of college. So admission to the university doesn't exactly guarantee admission to the occupational science program. However, your first 2 years in college are pretty much focused on taking the prerequisite courses that are required for the OS program. And I believe that you have to take your university general requirements, and then there's 5 main courses that you have to take before you can be granted admission to the occupational science program. It's anatomy and physiology, medical terminology, psychology, and statistics. And then, let me see. You can only apply once a year to the occupational science program. It's only in the spring. So I know some programs do both fall and spring semester applications, but for the occupational science program at EKU, it's only the spring. And then the minimum GPA requirements is a 3.0, but my biggest recommendation would be to keep it as high as you possibly can because it can be very competitive getting into the undergraduate occupational science program.
Well, just for, going to like undergrad, not necessarily one of our programs, I think that, it's highly variable based on where you want to go. And, different schools are requiring an ACT or an SAT, but I think the best thing to do is, always keep your grades as high as possible and try to do your best. And there's grade schools, there's state schools, out of state, and that's up to you. Try to stay involved, do extracurriculars, just for undergrad.
Okay, so you all had asked questions about each topic that was sent to you all and sent to your teachers. So if anyone has any questions related to this topic, now is your time to ask. It's good to ask questions because I did not get this opportunity in any of my years except now, and I'm a senior. So it's really good to take advantage of these people that are here. So what are some classes? Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't see it. Go ahead.
What are some basic requirements given to it?
Okay, for medical school, the normal route of entry is the basic requirement is the completion of a bachelor's degree at an undergraduate college. Beyond that, there's an entrance exam similar to an ACT or an SAT. It's called the MCAT. It's a basic science and math test that it was changed recently, and it basically covers some very basic medical knowledge. So I think what you guys are doing now is very good to get some early exposure. Beyond that, some medical schools have more requirements than others. Some are beginning now where they have no requirements other than a graduation from a college and a good GPA and a good MCAT score, on top of other extracurriculars to build yourself as a good applicant. So staying involved with community service is always looked upon favorably. A lot of schools want you at some point during your time in undergraduate school in college to shadow a doctor and go see what life is really like in that field. But beyond that, some schools do require basic biology, English, chemistry, math, but usually those classes are covered during your first year or two in undergraduate school. So the minimum requirements aren't very high and they're not very hard to obtain, but the biggest thing and the biggest kind of bar that you need to achieve to get into medical school is keeping your GPA well and undergraduate high, and I think that starts now in high school, building good habits, good study habits that set you up for future success. Does that answer your question?
I don't feel like you have to be a bio major in college to go to medical school. I took kind of a non-traditional route and I was a math major, so very few of my core classes even were requirements for medical school, and I just took them, over the summer as kind of an elective in college, so feel free to do a major that you might be more passionate about in biology.
Is that as far as being accepted to the program or as far as once you're in the program? Both? Okay, so whenever I was applying to the program, you apply during your freshman year of college, and the basic requirements are a 2.5 GPA. You have to have prerequisite courses such as an advanced anatomy course, physiology, intro to athletic training. You have to be certified in first aid and CPR at the time of the application. But really that's irrelevant now because our profession is making a transition from the bachelor's to the master's degree. So bachelor's programs are being phased out, so it's going to be more relevant to you guys what my colleague Caitlin Ashiro has to say.
I kind of went a different route. I didn't decide to major in athletic training until my third year of college, so that's why I didn't do an undergrad degree in athletic training. I decided to apply to Eastern this last spring, and by doing so, I didn't necessarily have to major in athletic training or anything in the athletic training field, but I had to meet the prerequisites. So you take anywhere from, you have to have statistics, you could take biomechanics or kinesiology, you need your basic anatomy, physiology. You do have to have some science. I think that is something that's very different from the undergrad to the now master's. For us as master's students, we had to have a lot more of a science background. I did my sciences early in my first couple years of undergrad, but it still transferred to when I needed to get my master's.
Does anyone else have a question? Okay, Heather.
So, what is your athletic training program?
First, let me say it's a big time commitment. We typically do a maximum of 30 hours per week of clinicals, so it's like having a part-time job while working. That's on top of your course load, so you have to be prepared to commit your time to this.
So when we made the transition to a master's, you only have 2 years to complete the program. You are not allowed to fail any classes at any point, otherwise you have to wait an entire year to regain the eligibility to graduate. My course load consists of, I have classes for my first 3 semesters basically, and it takes up my summer, so I get no summer. My very first day was from May, and I didn't get a break until December. And then I started again in January, and I won't get a break until this upcoming year's December. So it's a big commitment. It is a different transition compared to undergrad. You have a lot less time to do anything. When I go to my clinical sites right now, I'm currently at Bryan Station. I only do up to a maximum of 20 hours a week. But starting in August, I work anywhere from 40 to 60 hours a week. That's unpaid.
Additionally, the coursework is actually pretty fun to do. For every lecture course you have, there's also a practicum course where you work hands-on and you get to practice the skills that you learned previously.
Yes, so how selective is each of you all's programs? Like, how many students do you all let in?
Whenever I was going through, we had, at the first meeting, there was like over 200 people that were looking to apply to the program. By the time the applications were actually submitted and applicants were chosen, we had 22 that were accepted. By the time classes started, we had 16, and my class is currently down to 12 students.
My cohort started with a class of 9, and after this last semester, we're down to 7. It also depends per program what the max is allowed. So say that we don't even get to the max because not that many students apply, you still have to meet those basic requirements, and you can still not get accepted, even though there is room for you in that cohort.
For my program, the occupational science program, I know when I applied, I think there was about 170 students that also applied at the same time as I did, and my program takes 60 undergraduate students.
Overall, like getting into medical school is very competitive, and I think it basically gets more competitive every year. Kind of like Andrew was saying, a lot of it comes down to like how you're doing, establishing your study skills now, and like keeping up your GPA throughout college. But you'll find like when you get to college, if you're interested in going into medicine or going into like a pre-med track, you'll see like a lot of your classmates will, start in that, and then, it's just like who maintains an interest in wanting to do it over the course of being in college. So it's like, in that way, it's hard to gauge like what the selectivity is, but because there is only a few colleges have like a true pre-med major, so it's kind of like, historically most people are bio majors or biochemistry, but nowadays a lot of people are English majors or creative writing and can also get into medical school. But when it comes to apply, and you don't apply to school until after your junior year of college, and a lot of times even after you graduate from college. So at that time it does get pretty competitive, pretty selective, but overall our program we accept about 135 students each year, and at UK and at most public medical schools in the country, they accept mostly in-state students. So that's good news, for us and you guys, because they definitely preference that. I'm not sure exactly how many people apply. Maybe 10% acceptance rate in general.
I think UK College of Medicine gets about, like last year it was 3,000 applicants, and that's internationally. So you're competing against people from all over the world. And we take like 135 students, but 80% are usually from Kentucky. So if you're from Kentucky, that's awesome. We have 2 schools here, you have U of L and UK, so there's probably like 800 kids that apply from in-state. You have a much better chance to get in because you're competing for 80% of the spots. And of the 3,000 applicants, I think about 600 get interviewed. So for interviewing, there's like that step, you make that cut, and then after you get an interview, 135 of the 600 will get in.
Okay, so the next topic is college and program expectations for students. So what type of programs would you want students, would you all look for students to get into while they're in high school or outside of school?
I think the biggest thing that you can do now is get exposure. I think going to talks like this are very good to start to hear what it's like to be in any healthcare field. I think if you have a particular interest that you know of, trying to talk with somebody who's in that field talk with them, see what it's really like, and I think that's what a lot of you guys want to get out of today. But even more so, you could try and reach out to, in our case, a doctor in the Lexington area. You could say, hey, can I come follow you around and watch you work for a day? It's called shadowing, and most doctors will say, oh yeah, come on down, Friday, Saturday, whenever they have some time, and they'll let you follow them around. A lot of times they're very excited to have students who are interested and passionate and driven come to learn from them. So I think reaching out into the community, you can try and set something up yourself, but if not, going to these things and staying informed and continue to have a passion is the most important thing at this point that I think you all should do.
Kind of on the same note, when I was in high school, I participated in a program called the Rural Health Scholars, which gave me the opportunity to go to the local hospital and shadow physicians and physical therapists and just different healthcare professions, as well as do group activities such as dissections and things like that. And really, that's what got me more interested in the healthcare profession. So doing things like that is what's going to really help you build your identity as a healthcare provider.
I completely agree with that as well. And one thing that I would add on is also take advantage of as many volunteer opportunities that you guys can, especially if it's anything related to healthcare or what you're interested in going into. Definitely go out, seek out volunteer opportunities. Go ask if you want to be a physician or an athletic trainer or an occupational therapist. Go find one of those professionals and ask if you can just observe them.
I would also agree with that. I think anything in the healthcare field, like they really, what it's all about is helping other people, helping patients. So whatever program you're applying for, they want to see like that you've gone out and like done some volunteer work. And so starting in high school is a great time to start with that. And then the other thing I would say is like, you also don't have to feel too pressured to try to like gain, experience, like exactly like following a certain type of physician that you want to be someday. Like the other thing I would say is, just in general, keep doing whatever you actually like to do, because what you're doing is like building up, and this goes for any program that you're applying for. Like one day you're going to be interviewing, you're going to be talking to people about yourself, and they just want to hear like what you're interested in. So it doesn't necessarily have to be like that you worked in some kind of medical lab or like doing research. Like they just want to hear something interesting that tells them about who you are and like kind of what your motivations are.
I think another thing to add on to that is take advantage of the opportunities that your school provides for you. I think being in the academy that you're in gives you guys a great opportunity to kind of see multiple different things that all fall into the medical field. I don't know if a lot of you guys know your athletic trainer at school, Jake. He allows some of you guys to come in and supervise so you guys can get the opportunity to kind of see what it's like to work in that field. Again, taking advantage of the opportunities that your teacher provides you, any information that your teachers give you, use that to your advantage. Right now is the time to figure out what you kind of see yourself doing for the rest of your lives. This is the time for you guys to grow as young adults, and taking advantage of those opportunities now will help you later on in life understand where you want to be when you graduate.
Okay, so to keep that conversation flowing, what could we as students do to set us apart from the others? To put us on top of our, as Mr. Jacob said.
So I think that at this age, you guys get busy hanging out with your friends and not wanting to take the opportunities to volunteer. I think that there is a lot of different things that you guys can volunteer at, and by volunteering, you guys can put those things in your resume. Participating in different organizations that your school provides. I don't know if you guys have a student athlete advisory committee that there's usually one student from every sport, and you guys get together and you guys kind of work on volunteering and putting your name out there and making sure that people know, like, we are here, we are Bryan Station, and you guys can do those things and kind of stand out from other schools. I don't think it matters what school you guys go to for your, so for me, for instance, it didn't matter where my undergrad was from. At the end of the day, my degree is still gonna read the same as most everybody else's, but what I brought to the table was the different background that I was able to experience.
And for application purposes, college, medical school, nursing school, whatever program you want to do, volunteer, but I would focus a lot on your academics and, admission tests, because unfortunately a lot of times, especially in medical school, they'll look at your resume, and if you don't have certain scores, they won't even look very much further on your application. And you don't have to be, a genius to score really well on a lot of these tests, to do well in school. There's certain types of questions, and if you learn what people expect you to know, and you practice, you can get those scores that you want to get. And same thing in medical school. I thought, these tests are going to be so hard, how am I ever going to do well? And if you study and you think about what's really important and what kind of questions you can possibly ask you can be prepared.
Yeah, just one last point. I think it's really important. Whatever you guys are interested in now, pursue that. When I was in high school, looking back, I did a little bit of volunteering, but I played sports, and that's what I was passionate about. And I played sports, and I played sports, and I played sports, and that's basically what I did because I loved it. So do what you love, and it will help you develop into the person that you're destined to become. So if you're not passionate about volunteering, you're not passionate about this or that, don't feel bad. Just be passionate about something and do it well and do it to the best of your ability.
One thing I want to point out is hopefully what you've seen is all of these programs, it's competitive to get into. They have more people applying to them, sometimes twice as many, 3 times, 4 times as many applying to them that actually get in. So an easy way to set yourself apart is to be involved in multiple things other than just going to class and getting your grades and doing that. Because what they have to do is manage their time, and they have a lot of different things they have to do besides just go to the classroom. When they talk about these hands-on clinical visits and different things where they're juggling multiple things, multiple responsibilities, and then with each area of their job and their internships that they do, they're expected to be on different committees and go to different meetings after work and all that kind of stuff. So when they see that you played 2 different sports and you volunteered at this hospital, they see that you're able to manage your time well, in addition to getting the good grades and those things. I want to make a quick announcement here that it's 9:05. When the bell rings to end flex, there's a handful of you that I've spoken to about you having a test first block that you need to go to, and I just didn't want that to disrupt the flow of what we've got going on here. Let's give it up for our moderator, keeping the flow going and getting things started. I'm here to talk about this residency time. So yeah, when that bell rings in about a minute, those students will quietly exit, and then we'll continue on with the flow of our conversations and questions. Remember, this is a conversation, so don't be shy, and that's why you have your paper so you can write down questions, so when it comes time for you to ask another question, you won't forget it. Okay, you won't forget it. And actually, when the bell rings, I say we do like a standing stretch for you. You guys are okay with that? I know. Lead them through somebody, jump down. All right, so if you guys need to stand and stretch or take a break, you can stand. And then in about 2 minutes, we'll sit back down and get going with the questions. Everybody's staying in here. We need to right out.
to get started again, back in our discussion. If everyone could be seated. All right, so the next topic that we're going to talk about is what is the difference between high school and college? So if anyone has any questions in that area, feel free to ask, or if you all want to go ahead. How much time do you spend on studying?
In undergrad, my professor used to tell me for every hour you have of class, you should spend 4 to 6 hours studying. I know you guys are all like, how is that even possible? Time management is a huge thing. When you wait in between classes, taking that advantage of I have an hour break, let me get some studying done now, is something that you have to learn to do. I know a lot of you guys probably play sports or do any type of extracurricular activities, but you have to find time to know that school comes first. You can't turn homework assignments in late. You can't skip class. Like your school when you're in college has to come first compared to anything else.
I would say that role holds